Hello, my very dear Scorpios. This is your reading for the week of May 18th, or when you hear it and it resonates. And of course, it will not be for every Scorpio. Scorpio, the first thing as I was calling in the collective energy for Scorpio, found myself wanting to sit back on my tailbone and keep a very straight spine. But it's a very calm, straight spine. It's not rigid. It's soft. It's open, and immediately then what I see is literally like a pipe that moves up through the center, over your nervous system, through your head and up into the heavens, and or cosmos, or whatever word floats your boat. And the sense that I'm getting with that, it was confusing for me because it was a dark pipeline. Now, we know, Scorpio, that there has been a lot of support from spirit, a lot about movement and change in the nervous system and elevating the frequency, moving up through Kundalini, or moving Kundalini up through the chakras. Different things like that have been coming through for you. So it surprised me to see that it was a little dark. And as I asked questions about that and pulled a card, I got fear. Fear is a prayer for what we don't want. Then you get the grace card. And what I'm feeling with this, as I'm asking for guidance on how to present this to you in a way that's going to be informative and helpful, what I get is this. Many of you have come in, as you know, with an energy that has created conflict in your life, that has created the need to stand for yourself, and that quality of that warrior-like quality. And what they're telling me is that even though you have often come off as stoic and great achievers and doers, that underlying a lot of that, there was really a fear, an underlying fear that was vibrating in your nervous system at a deep enough level, or at a foundational level, enough so that you didn't identify it as anything that was aberrant. It was familiar to you. And even though many of you have changed many, many things, what Spirit is now saying is this. As you're moving more towards the deeper levels of liberation and of transmutation, what you're experiencing, or what some of you might be experiencing, is the awareness of the fact that the doing and the achieving is not always the thing that is going to help you transmute. Even if you are doing the things that are supposed to help you grow, heal, learn, whatever, the energy, if the energy behind it is still based on a fear of something, of needing to be something other than what you are, or behaving differently than what you have done, if there is that fear element in it, what it can do is it can create that kind of, I'm going to call it a rigidity, because normally when I see the spine and I see the Kundalini energy, there's a lot of movement around it. This feels as though it is a protection that you have created around your nervous system as a way to kind of hold everything in. What you're being told here is grace is your key. So you see, you already have the pipeline. You already have the pipeline that goes straight up into the heavens. That's not an issue. And you've been working the energy. Thank you. What they're showing me is that you've been working the energy within this protective cone, I'll call it, that you've put around the nervous system, or that your nervous system, thank you very much, you have not put it around your system. Your nervous system has enclosed itself as a way to kind of stabilize and protect. As you've been doing the work internally, and as it's been running up through this column, what's happening now is it's starting to soften this from the inside out. What they're saying to you is this: the patterns of thought and behavior that were linked to that protective tunnel or cone are still in your neural patterns, and still in a lot of your action reaction, just knee-jerk and not even knee-jerk, but just natural, organic way of dealing with situations. This is the way your brain has been functioning. So now what you're getting to do is, as you've been working through the nervous system, as this has been softening from the inside out, what it's been doing now, and understand that softening means flowing. Okay, it's a healthy quality. It's not a softening as in bleh. It's a softening as in this, as opposed to this. Okay, what they're saying is grace is here for you in order to help you deal with whatever the underlying fears might still be affecting the repetition and the repeat of those old neural patterns that will affect motivation, that will affect thought processes, and therefore decisions. So what they're saying is, now this, it's really interesting too, because you've got the card, the action card, that says basically, don't try. Allow yourself to just know that you have wonderful qualities. Many of them you know, many of them you don't know, but they're still within you. They are within your being. And what if you just allow that to come into your energy field around you? I'm going to read you the card because it will be simpler. Before you walk into a room, begin a conversation, or even just go out into the world, do this. Take a few minutes first to imagine that all of your best qualities, even the ones you're not conscious of, are bubbling up out of you and are surrounding you in fine shimmering light. You sparkle and shine in a way that draws people towards you. You invite interest and also cooperation in the nicest possible way. Now, the feeling that I'm getting with this, and linked directly to the grace card, is that sometimes this do and achieve attitude comes with it a quality of energy that can be quite intense and have quite a bit of momentum behind it. Now, that can be a way of overcoming fears. Putting on, and I say putting on, it's not putting on, it's choosing to embody that energy, that boldness, that intensity of energy in a way where it helps you move out of any kind of hesitation you might have. It's kind of like you build up the momentum in order to go forward and enter into. Now, how about if instead, before you do any of that, you just sit there and you imagine all of this wonderful energy through you, around you, shimmering, and that you let that enter the room first. You let that enter the conversation. You let that lead, and notice what comes to you now. So it's a subtle shift, and of course it won't necessarily be in everything. Sometimes you are going to, any of us are going to go in with determination, intensity, motivation, because that's what the situation calls for. But what they're saying is, if this is your go-to place, if this is fundamentally what you do whenever you go in, now try to do it the other way. And what they're saying is, you know, if you've been doing meditations and you've been doing spiritual work that involves you being still inside, being still, having stillness within you, then you can use that as your anchor point for this imagination. Go into that stillness place and then say, and now I'm going to let my energy do all the work that I used to feel psychologically I needed to do. So it's really supporting you in being able to take a slightly different approach with how you are going to be using your energy. I'm going to read you the grace card because I think it's super important for you. And I think this is one of the things that helps all of us come over any kind of fear energy that we've got, especially when it is not relevant to the situation. If you're facing a rattlesnake, yes, be afraid, because that is the warning that you need to do something like not go near it. However, if it's just going into the grocery store to do your groceries, we'd like you not to be in a fear state. Grace, although prices could do it, but that's another conversation. Grace has a smooth, easy, peaceful, and supportive quality. It flows naturally into us and through us. It's an experience of letting the benevolent universe take us through our movements and guide us with a loving hand. Notice the feeling quality of this description and return to it today. Every time you're about to do or think about anything, or at any point in the day when you find yourself feeling stressed and thinking too much. And isn't that perfect? You know, that quiet state I spoke about meditation. Well, grace is something, again, it's there for everybody. It's not a gift. You just have to receive it, be open to it. And doesn't it go perfectly with the bubbly card and the quality of just letting that and all of that wonderful energy basically like be your boat and be your beacon. Okay? I like this, and I want to end this on what they're reminding me again, which is you've already got the cone that is taking you right up into the heavens. You've been doing the work to soften whatever this protective, this defensive, this unnecessarily defensive layer around your nervous system. And that, as you've been doing this work on the inside now and softening it, this is how you can now address some of the neural patterns which might have an inclination to reinforce it and slow down the process of opening things up. Because remember, what we're looking for is not softness, we're looking for flow. And as the flow, remember please that as you're flowing up and down with that beautiful quality of movement through the nervous system, you're also meant to be expanding out and back in. Centrifugal, centripetal. That's essential nature. It's not just up and down, it's in and out. So that's why we want that cone to not be rigid and hard. We want your nervous system to be able to do what it needs to do in all directions. Okay? I leave you with that, my very dear Scorpios. Much love.